Hello everybody, today I'm going to do a review today on the Somerset and Dorset Railway, but in this book done by Ivo Peters back in the 1950s all the way to the end in the 1960s, which is 1966 I believe when the line closed. So let's get started. Right, first part on the agenda, the book. This was done by Ivo Peters back in the heyday of steam and when the Somerset and Dorset Railway was still running. Back then, all the way to the beginning of the time it started, it was known as the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. And in this book, Ivo Peters has taken plenty of photos and collected information and had known the staff, the station master, signalman, fireman, driver, shed master, and probably passengers that used to use the line. He's got information of engines, of who was there during the beginning of the 1950s, and also he's got the information of where each engine were based and where they were going, the times, the seasons, the lovely seasons on the Somerset and Dorset line in the heyday. Probably the best one for it is usually the summer, when you got loads of holiday makers, as they would call them, going down to the line or going away from the line further up, say to Liverpool, Brighton. I don't know. I literally don't know. Bournemouth, probably. Most likely Bournemouth, not Brighton. My mistake. But yeah. And I've actually got two engines with me that were part of the line. And here's one of them now, coming forward. This is number 44. A 2P class that was built in 1928 for the line back then in the LMS days. The 2P class were mainly used for piloting duties, as in helping the engines over gradients and mend it, and usually for banking duties, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. But number 44 here was built in 1928, arrived on the S&D the exact same year, and it stayed there probably the remainder of its life, I believe. But then it was, how can I put it? It was renumbered number 633 when it was taken back to the LMS. And as well as that, it survived the Second World War into BR period. And then it was renumbered 40633. And it lasted until May 1960. Now, I don't know if that was because it was still on the S&D at that time, or it could have been somewhere else, reallocated somewhere on the LMS lines, along the Midland region, more likely. But yeah, number 44 would have been used for piloting duties and that, and probably light passenger trains, light excursions, or branch line trains, I'm not 100% sure. But they were versatile engines, and the extra power they had was excellent. I don't think Ivo Peters found any fault when he was doing the photos. He's taken plenty of photos of other 2P classes back then, but I don't think number 40633 was there at the time, I believe. But then again, these are lovely locos for 440s. The painting on it is wonderful. The lovely Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway paintings of the actual dark blue colour. It's a lovely loco. Right, we'll say goodbye to this one, as I'll bring over the main engine that's been working on the Somerset and Dorset Railway all its life. The 7F53810. Now, these engines were built for the Somerset and Dorset Railway in 1914. and only 5 were built at the time during this First World War, and I believe production was stopped during that time. I'm not 100% sure, or if that was the actual order for it, but the first batch were built in 1914. Number 53810 was out of the second batch, but given a much larger boiler. Now, for that, they would have had to, that would have increased its, I think, steam abilities, I believe they call it, by having them larger, but also the second series, built in 1925, were, sorry about this, were left driven handed, I believe, by drivers. And as I'll just move it away so you can see me again properly. There we go. And they were used for mainly freight, but come the 1950s, they were called upon for the much heavier trains of the 6 weeks or 8 weeks of Saturdays, helping with the summer rush. It was quite unusual to see a 7F going along the Somerset and Dorset line, and as explained by Ivo Peters, there were short on locos, and for example, they would have been also used for piloting duties as well. For example, on the front cover, number 53809, a preserved 7F along with its sister 53808. They were mainly used on freight, really, but rarely on passengers. But they were brought out onto the Pines Express. Back then, they were the most powerful 7S they've had on the line, the most powerful freight engines they've had. It wasn't until later years that they slowly got replaced, I believe, by 9S, or the 9S were bought in due to extra heavy freight work. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, the larger boiler, 53810, was rebuilt during one of the times it was overhauled during pre-war, and it was given a smaller boiler to make it identical to the 1914 series, but it was still kept as the left-handed driven engine. But yeah, it's worked on the Somerset and Dorset line its entire life, right up until it was withdrawn and then scrapped. And there are 2 more volumes of this book by Ivo Peters. And as well as having 7S on there and 2Ps, he's taken photos of the Johnson 1P tank engines. There was a Pug there, a Sentinel steam engine. God knows where that came from. Johnson's 3F tender engines. Some of them were built purposely for the Somerset and Dorset line back then. And then you got the 4Fs on there. LMS Ginties, the Black 5s, and I can't actually quite remember really what else were on there. Let me take one look just to be 100% sure I got this right. Let's see. Here we go. Here we are, missed one. I knew I forgot one. There was also the Ivet Class 2MT as well. Now, during the 1950s, there was quite a few changes. They even decided to have, as Ivo Peters has said, to reallocate some bullied Pacifics during the Saturdays of the summer period, and 3 of them, I believe, were allocated there, all light built, and they even ended up with an unusual engine known as the Ivet 4MT 260s, I believe. I might be mistaken. Let's take a look. Just going to take a quick look and see if it was I was right. 260s, 4MTs, Iverts. Also known by the crews then as doodlebugs, and they proved quite well along the line. But yeah, Ivor Peters has done an excellent job recording every single engine he's seen on there. The drivers, the firemen, the staff. He's done an excellent job, and I've got no fault whatsoever to what he's done. Like I said, there are 2 more other books there done by him. Don't know if there was anything else he's done, but if I find any more, I would love to find them and read them and see what else he has done for the Somerset and Dorset Railway. But yeah, he has done an excellent job, excellent photography, and if you do have this book, please let me know in the comments to what you thought of it, and please give this video a like. This is Journey by Trains here. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye for now.